A ute and boat covered in tarp, what's thought to be beneath, chilling. Police say these are the movements of Justin Stein after he allegedly 9-year-old Charlise Mutten almost 2 weeks ago.
What is up, iCkEdMeL? Welcome back to the channel, and I got a couple of updates with regards to Charlise, the 9-year-old girl from Australia that went missing on this holiday trip with her mother and the mother's boyfriend. I'll put the link down below if you've missed the original video. BL posted the link to the update this morning where they released what happened to her, and apparently, you know, the cause of death, she was shot and she was placed in this barrel. Now the barrel, they believe that the barrel came from the property they were staying at on this mountain, Blue Mountains, Mount Wilson, this estate that is owned by the boyfriend's brother. The barrel came from that place, and then he in turn then took this barrel with the boat, and he went to multiple locations trying to find and trying to dump, but he wasn't able to do it. And then that's where he ends up at this Kallista River, where he just leaves it on the side. And just a little refresher, January 13, allegedly this is the last time that Charlise is seen, though the odd thing, which we spoke about this on the last previous timeline conversation, but police believe the little girl was killed on January 11th or 12th. And so this guy was Charlise on the property, deceased all this time until he decided on the 13th to move her around and try to discard her. The mother reported her missing on January 14th on Friday, 8:20 a.m. So keeping in mind the dates, okay, police believe she was killed around the 11th or 12th. So 1 to 2 days before he starts to move her around. So this is on the 13th, and this is at 6 p.m. The CCTV that was released, and there's still images and video. This was at 6 p.m. when he pulls up at the gas station with the boat that came from the property as well. And so it's assumed that she's on this boat and the barrel's there as well. That's 6 p.m. Then the next location is at 7:17 p.m. The UTE and the boat are spotted in traffic in Sydney's inner west. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Okay, so there's plenty of video footage you can see here. And then the last snippet that we see minutes later, close to the 5-dock bay boat ramp near Drummoney, the UTE is captured on a home's private security camera. And so this is where you see it driving by. And this is the actual video. This is the first stop, 5:53 p.m. at the BP gas station. You can see the vehicle back here. We're going to talk about that. I actually edited the video and finished it, and then I realized after, I'm like, oh, I mistyped their name, and that there's a bunch of other stuff that I could add to this video, like the actual CCTV footage instead of the small clips that they post in the news articles. But taking a look at this thing right here, you're going to see other video, this blue thing right here that's covered with like a blue tarp, that kind of looks like the barrel to me. Obviously, that's the boat behind that's covered as well. I don't know if she was in the barrel at that time or after the fact, or did he put her in after? I don't know. This is at the 7:17 p.m. location, January 13, that we just spoke about. And so this is here where he gets kind of caught up in traffic, and you can see clearly, to me, like this is like a barrel covered like with a tarp type of thing. And he has it looks like tied too. Just creepy, eerie to think that this guy is just driving around with her there. Just I guess looking for spots, or I don't know what he was doing before he got to the ports to try to dump her, the docks, I mean. And then we got another location, I believe. 7:20 p.m. Thursday, January 13. So like this is the day before she's reported missing. And so this is where he drives past the private property. You see clearly like a barrel. Crazy, man. And then he goes to multiple docks after this to try to get rid of the barrel.
Police say Justin Stein then came here to the 5-dock boat ramp late at night. It's alleged he tried to dump Charlise's body before attempting again at the Windsor boat ramp in the early hours of the morning she was reported missing.
Police say that they don't believe the mother, Kallista, was there on the property when this whole thing happened with Charlise and Justin, the boyfriend. They also don't believe that she's involved. She's being considered a witness. And so if you remember from the last time, she was in the hospital and in shock, and they spoke to her, but they didn't get a full, I guess, interview or comprehensive interview. They've said that they've spoken to her and they've re-interviewed her, so she's being treated as a witness. Which like I said, the only thing that's bizarre to me, maybe there's other dynamics we don't know about, is that if she was dead from the 11th or 12th, did she ever question, hey, where's my daughter? What is going on? I think it was reportedly that she left her daughter with this guy for a certain amount of time. So we're still missing a lot, and maybe more is going to come out. I wanted to show you this press release. Now, the short version is like 5 minutes. This one is like 16 minutes because this one includes the questions from the reporters, which I love to hear because sometimes they ask really good questions and sometimes we get a little bit more information than what is the prepped release.
Detective Superintendent Danny Doherty, Commander Homicide Squad, State Crime Command. Detectives from Strophos Buana making an appeal today in relation to the murder of 9-year-old Charlise Mutten. Just going to recap that this whole investigation commenced on the Friday the 14th of January when Charlise was reported missing, and there was an extensive search by police and emergency personnel over a long period of time at Mount Wilson and other locations. Ultimately on Tuesday the 18th of January, plastic barrels located on the banks of the Colo River and by detectives from homicide and also local police, and with the assistance of crime scene and divers, the human remains were removed from the barrel at the Liquor Morgue. As a result of the investigation, prior to getting to the appeal, there's been a very extensive post-mortem examination. As a result of that, the coroner, on the balance of probabilities, has identified the 9-year-old girl as being Charlise Mutten. However, further DNA examination will confirm that positively, but at the moment we're satisfied it is 9-year-old Charlise Mutten. I can also now establish, the cause of death has also been established, and I can now disclose that the cause of death for Charlise was that she suffered a fatal gunshot wound, and that's how she died. So we're disclosing this for investigative reasons, but also to clear up any ambiguity, to make sure that we have some clarity to the investigation and any other thoughts that this may not be anything but what it is, and this is the murder of a 9-year-old girl. We appeal to the media to report on this with sensitivity. The family of Charlise have only been informed of the cause of death just recently, but it's important that they know, and it's important that the public know that this is a unimaginable and egregious murder of a child. The investigations are still ongoing. As of the crime scene at Mount Wilson's been ongoing. As of yesterday and today, we've still been searching the building and also the surroundings at Mount Wilson. Obviously now looking for a firearm. And that's been with the assistance of police from OSG, PAWS, divers and dog unit. And that search is ongoing. As such as our investigation is ongoing. And as part of that investigation, we're releasing CCTV on the red Holden, Colorado. There was seen to be driven into the city area and also around the Wisdom's Ferry area and Colo River area. And that's important for investigative reasons because there are some gaps of the timeline where the vehicle was seen towing a boat, and so we're obviously very keen to appeal to the public who may have seen some suspicious activity in these locations. So on the 13th of January, that's the Thursday before Charlotte was reported missing, 5:53 p.m. the BP at Marsden Park, Richmond Road. At 7:19 p.m. Victoria Road at Drummoyne. At 7:20 Bayswater Road at Drummoyne. And then, very importantly, between 7:20 p.m. and 9:50 p.m. at the 5 Dock boat ramp at Drummoyne. Following morning, the early hours of the 14th of January, about 1:30 a.m. to 1:40 a.m. the Windsor boat ramp, Livingston Street, Windsor. And then at the Colo River on the 14th of January, at 2:25 a.m. to 2:30 a.m. at the Kallista River Jetty under the Putty Road Bridge, and 2:37 a.m. to 2:46 a.m. at the lower Kallista Road. Appealing for anyone who may have seen this red Holden Colorado towing a boat, any suspicious activity or unusual activity around the car and the boat at any of those locations or any other locations that may come forward. Any dash cam footage that people may possess and we could utilise to give us, or any CCTV footage or mobile phone footage that someone may have. Of course, these timings and locations, especially in the early hours of the morning, would have been unusual. People may have remembered the suspicious activity, and it's really important to help the investigators in this matter. Remember, we're highly motivated because we're working on behalf of Charlise. We're trying to provide answers to her family, but more importantly, trying to deliver justice on her behalf. Happy to answer any questions.
This is that the boat was covered over in all those 3 bits of vision. Make that boat, put it in the water, leaving it covered over.
Well, that's why we're appealing to the public. Maybe that there's some gaps of what activities and movements there was, and maybe people may have seen something unusual or suspicious around that boat. We're not only just concentrating on the boat, but also concentrating on the actual ute itself. And when you see the CCTV footage, you'll see the ute and the boat of high importance to us. And I think once we get that information from the public, they may be able to help us to fill those gaps. But it may be really important for us in relation to maybe providing some other evidence for this investigation.
Is it still your belief that Charlise was shot back in Mount Wilson? And if so, have you found any evidence so far?
The search is ongoing in relation to trying to find evidence. The inquiries and evidence and information we've received to date suggests that the murder happened at Mount Wilson, at the property. It's a point where I can now also disclose that the plastic barrel was from that location, from the property as well. So it's high probability that the murder happened there. The time frames and the evidence we've gathered so far all suggest that's where the murder happened.
Do you still believe the barrel was inside the usual boat that was covered up in CCTV?
Well, you know, what I can say is that, as alluded to, the boat has been covered up, but when you see the CCTV footage, there's also a tarp on the back of the ute. What I can also say is, at some stage after leaving the Kallista River, that item wasn't on the ute when it stopped at another service station at Bells Line Road at Kermond. So it's highly suspicious that that item wasn't there.
So just to be clear, you think that she was shot at property and then that the child's body was in either the boat or the truck in those pictures that you released?
The information, the evidence suggests that. That's, you know, this is an unimaginable, egregious act. It's terrible to even think about and talk about. That's why we're appealing to sensitivity on how we do report about it. You can imagine this is a 9-year-old girl who's been shot dead and then placed in a barrel and then disposed of on the banks of the Kallista River. It's hard to talk about, it's hard to think about, but we need to get it out there for our investigation and to get the truth, and that's why it's important.
Did anyone hear
With the mother,
Yeah, I can now say that Charlise's mother, Kallista, has been re-interviewed. She's provided a formal statement last Friday. She's in alternative accommodation after leaving medical care. The formal statement at this stage corroborates the original version she's provided, and the evidence and information we have is that we're treating her as a witness, and there's no information or evidence at this stage that puts her at the property at the time of the murder. We're alleging in court, and remember there's a 31-year-old going to court for murder. We're alleging that the murder happened Tuesday night or early hours of Wednesday morning, and the information, the evidence we have is that Charlise's mother's not at the property at that time.
Did anyone hear the gunshot?
that's all part of the appeal. Any information that we get from now on, knowing that now that we know there was a shooting, is really important.
I wonder if those neighbors heard anything too. The neighbors that reported in the early morning hours that there was a car that left at like 4 something in the morning with the headlights off. I wonder if they would have heard gunshots or something like that.
So at this stage, those
I mean, I would have think they'd say that the first time. So, but I don't know.
investigations are ongoing. We've got a large amount of police that, again, highly motivated to get these answers. You don't get much more motivation than a 9-year-old girl that's been murdered.
Do you know what kind of firearm?
At the moment, we're not going to disclose too much, but what we believe from the post-mortem is a small calibre firearm.
I'm speaking with Charlise Mutten. Do you have any clarity as to why she wasn't at the property at Mount Wilson?
She's provided a formal statement and an original version. She was there, and again, we won't go into it too much, but she was staying at the caravan at the time, and the 31-year-old Justin Stein was with Charlise at the time at the property at Mount Wilson.
Why would
So she gave a reason why, but I guess we're not going to be told.
someone do this?
This is all part of the gathering of information and evidence for the court. We will be providing all that information to the court when we have to, but really, in terms of not long after the Charlie's remains were found, Justin Stein was arrested and charged in a fairly short amount of time. He's got rights at the moment in relation to his versions, and I don't want to expand on that at the moment for court. And again, that's all part of our ongoing investigation. Why would someone do this? How the circumstances of why she was there alone with Justin at the time, they're all part of the ongoing investigation.
Was he a registered gunner? Was he a registered gunner?
No.
Not as far as I know.
Can you confirm that when she was reported missing, that Kallista, the mother, did confirm that she last saw Charlise on Thursday?
There was some reports that she said that. I think her original version changed a little bit. There was another.
That's a really good question. Thank you for the reporter that asked that, because I've been wondering that. And, as far as Charlise was last seen Thursday, but then if she's been dead since the 11th or 12th, I think the dates were, then what's going on there? And did she really last see her daughter Thursday then, if she's already been dead? So he said there was a change in the story, I guess.
Number of versions. That's why it made it very difficult for the police from Blue Mountains to start off with, assisted by State Crime Command. It also made it difficult for probably the search coordinators and the hundreds of volunteers that assisted the police, because there was different versions of time frames. But from our information, the evidence that we've so far gleaned is that Justin was alone with Charlise on the Tuesday night, and the murder, we were alleging in court that the murder happened Tuesday night or early hours of Wednesday morning.
Was there anyone else staying at the property at the time, and if so, were they assisting?
The information and evidence we've got so far hasn't suggested anyone else. Actually, the evidence all suggests that Justin Stein is the only person responsible for the murder, placing Charlise in the barrel and disposing the barrel on the banks of the Colo River. That's the information we've got so far. The investigation's ongoing.
Has he assisted police at all?
Look, he provided a couple of varying versions to start off with, and then since then he's been arrested and charged. So that's it. He's before the courts.
And where was the gunshot?
I'm not going to go, again, we're talking about sensitivity of how we're going to report this. You've got a 9-year-old girl who's suffered a fatal gunshot wound. That's all you need at this stage we're allowed to disclose. Family members have just been told. It's very sensitive for them. And it's also important for our integrity of our investigation to maintain that. And also the fact that we don't want to be sub judice before the court.
How is her family holding up?
Oh, look, her extended family and friends especially, and she's got young friends as well. They're devastated. This is terrible news that we have to deliver to them just recently. This will be a hard thing for them to get by, but they'll get support, and we'll provide that much support we can. But they're getting support from their own friends and family. But it's devastating from not only the fact that it was a 9-year-old, but it's the circumstances of how she lost her life. It's unimaginable.
Last question. Is there anything about his movements on the Tuesday? I know you say the investigation's ongoing, but anything you can tell us about his movements on the Tuesday that will shed some light as to a possible motive, what led up to this?
The movements on the Tuesday is that he's at the property at Mount Wilson with Charlise, and that's his movements. That's where he's there. What we're appealing for is the movements on the Thursday night, early hours of Friday morning. That's really relevant for us. And when you look at the CCTV footage and the images and the time frames, that's why it's really important for us to get the information from the public, because that's crucial to us to establish the timelines and any activity or unusual activity or any information surrounding those locations where he visited or where that vehicle and the boat were visited. So it's really important that we keep an open mind on the Thursday night, but really it's so important for the community to help us. Look, again, it's sensitive. This is probably very unpalatable for the community to hear all the circumstances of what happened to this beautiful 9-year-old girl. But it's important for us to do that so we can get answers for the family. And really, what's the most important to us is Charlise is not here to defend herself. We've got to act on her behalf, and we want to make sure that justice is delivered for her.
Home alone together.
They're home alone on the Tuesday night, early hours. That's all we can tell you at the moment.
Was it common for Stein and Charlise to be together alone?
Again, that's all part of the investigations, the amount of times that may have happened, the circumstances. But I'm only acting on the facts that we've got at the moment, the information we've got at the moment.
Last question.
You said before that what alerted police to this activity was these phone calls between Justin and Kallista. So did they have contact between Tuesday and Friday when...
Look, that's all part of the investigation. There's a number of investigation and inquiries that we had to make to be able to establish the movements and tracking of Justin Stein, but more importantly, the tracking and movements of this Holden, Colorado, and the boat. So it's important for us. There's gaps there, and that's why it's important for us to get the information from the public. We really need the community's assistance with this. And again, it's a terribly sad situation. Everyone knows that, but we're trying to be as sensitive as we can, because we just want to be able to make sure that we have all the answers and the complete picture to make it very clear.
How does it feel for you and your colleagues too?
There was an interesting article that came out from the Daily Mail as well with regards to Justin, the stepfather, and they said that one, there was a prison guard that said that Justin's already getting threats on his life, but in this facility, it's probably unlikely that they're going to get a hold of him. It's the Silverwater Correctional Facility. Another thing, one of Justin's friends, a close friend, I guess, stated that he doesn't believe Justin did it. He said that this guy doesn't have a bad bone in his body. He just doesn't have it in him. And he brought up and believes that the police should be looking at this mystery car. The car, which I'm talking about, is that Friday morning, I could think at 4 a.m. before the mother at 8:30 a.m. reported, I think it was 8:27 a.m. The mother reported Charlise missing. Before that, around 4 a.m., neighbors reported that this car left the property with their headlights turned off. And so this guy's trying to point to that, though, with this CCTV footage coming out and this guy with this barrel that's found by the river where her remains are at, leaves it hard for me to believe anything other than this mysterious car, which who knows? I don't know what that car was. Was it him? Was it somebody else? I wanted to share this timeline, which specifically focuses on Justin's movements from the Daily Mail, which I thought was pretty good. And this is Mount Wilson. This is the Blue Mountain area. And then that's Wildstein Estate. That's the property that's owned by the brother. And so it says here, number one, 7 p.m. Tuesday, January 11th, Wednesday, January 12th, Charlise is allegedly murdered and her remains are placed inside a plastic barrel. Number two, Thursday, January 13th, Justin Stein leaves the Wildstein property at Mount Wilson in his red Holden, Colorado, towing a boat allegedly carrying a barrel with Charlise remains inside it underneath a blue tarpaulin. And so that's the vehicle right there. Number three, and you might remember this from the previous videos, he drives an hour and 18 minutes to Marsden Park, Bunnings, where he buys 100 kilograms of sandbags and calls Kallista Mutten. Makes a 3-minute drive to BP Marsden Park, where he fills up the boat with marine fuel and calls Kallista. 5 hours driving around Sydney, allegedly with Charlise's body in the barrel. Drives 40 minutes to 5 dock boat ramp where he fails to launch an operable boat and calls Kallista to discuss attempt to float the boat, which is like, you know, again, what were those conversations like? Number 4, drives 1 hour from 5 dock to Windsor boat ramp, boat and still inoperable. Drives from Windsor boat ramp 23 minutes to Kalo River. Stein allegedly tried to drag the barrel from the boat and dispose of it in the Kalo River. It was too heavy to drag, so he abandons it on the riverbank. Now, Friday, which is the day where this vehicle that we talked about, 4:30 a.m. vehicle leaves Wildstein, Mount Wilson. Kallista, the mother, dials 000 to report her daughter missing. This was around 8:27, 8:30 a.m. Justin's interviewed by Penrith police. His ute is seized. In January 18, police discover Charlise's body at the Kalo River. 8:30 p.m. police arrest Justin Stein. Justin's friend Jason was quoted as saying, "I'll back Justin to the day I die." Like, he 1,000% has his back. Doesn't believe that he did this. Also, Justin, the stepdad, was crashing on Jason's couch. They had like a 20-year friendship. And he said, according to him, that holiday visit where Charlise, all this stuff happened to her, this was supposedly the first time that Justin had met Charlise. Like, the mother was introducing them. And if you guys remember from some of the previous videos, which is just kind of crazy, and some new updates as well. So Justin's mother, okay, the stepdad's mother, you know, of course, is taking, I guess, his side. She also says that she never approved of their relationship. Supposedly, they got engaged just 3 weeks after meeting. So Justin's mother supposedly didn't approve of this relationship. Also, Kallista, we spoke about the past that she had with substances. It was so bad that apparently she even killed somebody in a car accident, right? And so now, apparently, according to this Daily Mail article, Kallista, she is also now pregnant. She's been pregnant with Justin's child. So I don't even know, just even trying to like comprehend that, or even think about that this woman is now pregnant to the guy, with the guy's child, or their child, that the guy that killed your child, now you're pregnant with his child, you know. And then the final note too is the Daily Mail spoke with this guy, John Hefferman. He's like this former prison boss, and he said that people no doubt would love to get their hands on Justin, man. So I don't know, you guys comment below, let me know your thoughts. Appreciate the support. Please hit the like, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications, support the channel. Love you guys. Peace. Take care.